Welcome. This is Power Trading Radio Live, fueled by Online Trading Academy. For more information, visit powertradingradio.com. Now, here's your host, Merlin Rothbell.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Power Trading Radio. I'm Merlin Rothbell with you for your, is it Monday? Hi, the weeks they fly. Monday it is. Hope you had a great trading session out there today and hope you enjoyed some of the wonderful downside gaps we had. And there were some nice moves intraday for the Russell, but for the most part, just a lot of negativity out there for those of you holding the indexes. And the question I have for those of you that are holding long and strong is, how long are you going to hold on for? At what point do you say, well, it's going to go to cash for a little bit and see how this subsides? I know some of you are just going to hold on forever. That's too bad. All right, our guest for today is going to be Robert Dummar. We're going to go talk about financial markets. We're going to talk about his experiences, how he got into trading and investing, learn more about this trader and instructor with Online Trading Academy. So for some of you who might be taking classes with him in the upcoming future, hey, it's a get to know him kind of session. And I always like to start off like that because we all have paths that we've taken to get to the point where we are right now as traders. We've all overcome obstacles. We've had some good times, some bad times. So let's learn through other people's experiences and mistakes so that maybe we don't make those same mistakes. Robert will be our guest after our first segment. If you have any questions, feel free to send those on in at powertradingradio.com. You can click the little button there that says Power Blast or join our discussions going on social media, which is kind of quiet today. It's a little quiet Monday out there. But hello, Austin and Ruben on your new haircut. I got it trimmed a little bit, Ruben. Yeah, Power Trading Radio and Online Trading Academy YouTube page. We are broadcasting live with chat, so interact, send in your questions. Don't just sit there. Just interact with us. Have some fun. All right, let's start off with our overall markets. It was a heck of a trading session out there, or at least a long-term portfolio session. I heard so much chatter, markets haven't sold off more than 1%. Yeah, well, you can now remove that from your rhetoric because it has sold off more than 1%. Some of these indexes actually doing much worse than that. Now, today, the main focal point, at least for the worst performer, will be the yields of the 10-year note. So TJ is going to bring up your 10-year right now, and you can see on this price chart, not only do we break above that downward trending sloping line that we've had there for quite some time, but we did it with authority. Ripping through, we're actually headed towards those highs we saw from back in October of 2019. So it could be an interesting time there, at least from a supply perspective. What that means, though, is that the price of these bonds, people are rushing to buy them, and of course that inversely affects the yield. Today you saw the yield down almost 5%. It would drop 4.52% on that 10-year yield. So for those of you looking to refinance, heck of a nice move down. 1.6 is what the yield is at right now. And just last week we were talking about it, it was 1.8. So we're seeing a very sharp drop in the yield on that 10-year futures note. So a good thing for anybody who's looking to buy or refinance. All right, number 6 on our list goes to crude oil. Crude oil on the day down 2.51%, continuing what is just a meltdown, an absolute meltdown. We were up over $65 just at the beginning of January. Now here we are at the end of January. We tiptoed down into the 52 range. We actually hit a low today of 52.13, so a pretty ugly day for crude oil. It does beg the question, and I've gotten this question a few times, is this a buying opportunity? Personally, I do think it would be worth taking a stab at it just because it seems like we've had this floor put in crude oil right around that $50 mark, and here we are getting very, very close to that $50 mark. And that said, 2.51% slide for crude oil today, making it one of your worst performers by a good margin, $1.36 per barrel slide to $52.83. So not the best day out there for crude oil. All right, now we move up the ladder. Let's go to the indexes, which they didn't fall in 1%. Oh, yeah? Well, let's take a peek at this. And here's your NASDAQ. NASDAQ composite today down 1.89%. At one point, it was over 2% slide, which, of course, did very good for my puts. I am still holding my puts, by the way. I know you guys, we talked about it for the last week. I still have puts on the S&P, the NASDAQ, and my biggest position is actually in the Russell 2000. I will be holding those. I think right now we're going to start to see some fear and panic mode come in, which, of course, is welcome when you're short. When you're long, obviously, it's not very nice. 1.89% slide NASDAQ composite. You can see that just gigantic red candle. It was, of course, started with a gap down. This whole coronavirus is starting to accelerate in the fear factor. Keep in mind, if you go back historically and look at some of these virus breakouts in the past, it actually, after a few months, usually works out well for the market. But there's going to be initial knee-jerk reaction, and if this one is any different or is different than the past, we might see a significant downside move. I don't think you'll see a colossal sell-off, but I do think you'll see a little bit more here as panic kind of sets in. So NASDAQ was your number 5 performer. Number 4, S&P 500, here is your ES on the day, down 1.57%. Again, it started to rebound a little bit later, but still all in all, a fairly bad day for it. You can see those two just horrible red candles. Friday and Monday, obviously increasing the return on my puts by a colossal amount in a very short order of time. 1.57% to 32.43 was where it finished at. That's a slide of 51.8 points on the S&P. Right now, we are 3 points lower in the after-hours session as well, to which I say, bring it on. Let's see some more downside. For the Russell 2000, that was your bronze medal winner, down 1.09%, actually showing rather positive. You see the way that they ended the day there, well off the session lows. It was really cratering when the market opened up this morning, but then had a fairly strong rebound. Still on the day, Russell 2000 was down 1.09%. That's all the way down to 1644, and we're just down we're pretty much there right now in the after-hour session. So no change for the Russell, which was no change in the after hours for the Russell, which was number 3. Number 2, the silver medalist goes to gold. We'll bring up the GC chart here so you guys can see what happened with gold on the day. It was slightly up 0.57%, so nothing major, although it is a tiny little shooting star formation. You guys can see right zooming in. There you go. Make it a little bit clearer for the viewers out at home. Basically what we mean by shooting stars, it opened up, had a nice little rally even higher, and then closed right near the session lows with a small real body. That is generally a rather bearish sign, especially after you've had this nice move up in gold. I'm not too pessimistic on gold right now. I think the fear factor is going to actually help continue to push gold higher. Today was only up 0.59%. We may see some more. All right, I don't even have it ready over there. Normally, TJ's really set with all these charts, but today, since we were filming in studio, we didn't get the prices all set for Bitcoin. So let's bring up the Bitcoin chart, TJ, if you wouldn't mind, which had a great day. It was a 3.99% gain for Bitcoin. There you go. Thank you, TJ. 8,891 is where it is at right now. You can see it sold off a bit over the last hour, but all in all, a pretty nice day out there for Bitcoin, 3.99%. That $9,000 mark is starting to look pretty tasty, which we just barely kissed it at 1 p.m. today. Now, there you go. So that's your top 7 markets. Hopefully some of those put some green into your pockets. And if you are a long and strong perma bull, you might want to think about being a little bit more defensive. Doesn't say you have to close out your positions, but maybe you buy some options, you protect your positions, you protect your portfolio, or go to cash as this fear for the coronavirus, impeachment, and other things are starting to escalate a little bit. We might see a little bit more downside moves, but I think you guys can see by these last 2 trading sessions, there is a good amount of fear coming into the marketplace. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. If we get another big red candle, there's a pattern called, is it 3 black crows or the 3 white soldiers? These are Japanese candlestick formations that are technically reversal patterns. So if I get another big red candle tomorrow, I'll probably close out some of my put position just because I'm expecting it to bounce, and maybe I'll be buying opportunity on some calls out there. All right, again, that was your top 7 markets. Hopefully some of those put some green into your pocket. Let's go to some viewer questions. I saw we had one from Jason that came in a couple days ago, and this was on the US dollar Swiss franc from a Forex perspective. So I'll start with that one. He says USD Swiss franc buying at 95.81, stop loss at 95.60, targets at 97.12. Now, I won't go into the macroeconomics or the political stuff with Swiss franc or gold. It's purely technical here. So we'll zoom out a little bit because you really can't see the whole trade setup here on the daily chart as TJ's got it. So zoom out a little bit further. And there you can see the levels, right? So what he's doing is he's picking a demand zone that goes all the way back into September of 2018. Some of you might be thinking, well, that's not valid, doesn't matter, it's too long ago. No, that's not true. It could be. What I don't like about it, and TJ, if you wouldn't mind, zoom in on where that zone is picked at. I'm not going to go into the breakdown of it, but I'm not a fan of the level because you're cherry picking a part of the candle that if you were to zoom in on it, isn't that great. It's not the best demand zone, plus you're ignoring these tails, this long bottoming tail here, that low. So I'm not a big fan of the zone itself. Now what about the target? We come out here to the more current market data and see where we stand today. You're basically saying you want it to drop significantly and cover your long position once it comes back up to this high. So I'm okay with that. I think that right now you're looking at catching a falling knife, right? And we've said before that that's not a horrible idea. But if we are, in fact, since December in this pretty aggressive sell-off here in USD Swiss franc, it might be better to look at this level that you're at right now and think of that as a shorting opportunity, and your target becomes this level you've drawn much lower. So because you need to kind of go with the trend here, Jason. That's my only thought on this trade. I would be more inclined to be looking from a bearish perspective here on the USD Swiss franc because of the trend that we are currently in. regardless whether you're bullish or bearish, you want to go with what the flow is. And right now that flow looks to be rather negative on this USD Swiss franc. So there you go, Jason. Sorry to get to that one on Friday. We've been crazy busy over here in the studio recording tons of videos and a lot of new product coming out for you guys that you'll get to enjoy soon, especially the on-demand side. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. Robert Dummar will be our guest. Again, we're going to talk about his experiences, how he got into the markets, a walk down memory lane of a trader and an instructor here at Online Trading Academy. So if you have questions for Robert or myself, send those on in at powertradingradio.com and click that little button there that says Power Blast. Send them on in or join our chat over there. You got Ruben and Brendan. Oliver, welcome back, my friend, all on the Power Trading Radio YouTube channel. And if you click over onto the Online Trading Academy YouTube channel, we've got Sabrina. Sorry about my absence. Well, it's always great to have you back. It's tough. We do a live daily show. Don't expect you to be there every day, but happy to have you with us. You've also got Avi and Gayer as well. So hello, everybody on the Online Trading Academy YouTube channel. Join the discussion, ask questions, and we'll be right back after a short break.
What if you knew the income strategies professional investors used? The strategies designed to generate active income from the financial markets. After all, no one's going to care more about your money than you.
I learned that I can be in control of my 401k.
I used to work for money. Now I have my money working for me.
With the right training and guidance, you can learn the skills to become a more confident investor and make your money work harder for you. Want to find out what's possible for you? You can, as long as you're willing to take the first step and call OTA today.
Call for your free tickets right now, and you'll also receive a free Professional Insiders kit loaded with lessons from some of our top instructors on topics like enhancing your retirement strategy, capital preservation, and income generation. The Professionals Insider Kit makes it so you can get started right now.
Call 888-304-8723 or visit us online at tradingacademy.com and schedule your free class today.
Click is something I wish I had when I started because it facilitates the learning process a lot quicker.
This is not about taking many trades, it's about taking the right trade.
It helps me save myself from myself. It's just a revolutionary educational tool. It just propels you through the learning curve.
The biggest shock for me is the level of innovation that happens within the company, and it's continuing.
Is just perfect in this new century of trading.
Everyone's on the same side, and I think that's what I love about it more than anything else. Helping each other, supporting each other, all with the same objective. Again, wonderful.
There's no mountain high enough that the leaders in this organization won't climb for their students. They'll just never give up.
It can only help. It can only make one a better trader.
Gives you one of the most valuable things we all have, and that's time.
Welcome back to Power Trading Radio Live with your host, Merlin Rothfeld, and today's special guest.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Power Trading Radio. It is your Monday edition. Welcome, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend out there. I can see a lot of you talking about Ulta on our Power Trading Radio YouTube chat. Yeah, that's one that Larry was talking about in this program for quite some time. Ulta and Skyworks are two. I was never in Ulta, but Skyworks is one that just drives me nuts. And I look at the chart of Skyworks. I'm like, congratulations, Larry. You nailed that one. I got out when it was down here in 2009, right when I bought my house at like $7, $8, $9 or something. It's one of those things. So yeah, great. Glad you guys are managing those trades and see some nice winners out there. Our guest for today has been an instructor with the Online Trading Academy for some time. Hasn't been on the show. Maybe just doesn't like all the spotlight, but he says, you know what? I'm coming on this show. Finally going to make it on, which I'm pretty excited about. He's got a ton of trading experience and background. We got Robert Dummar joining us today. How you doing, Robert?
I'm great, Merlin. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm glad we finally get you on the program. I wish you were in studio. It's always nice to have in studio, but I'm glad you're with us today. Where are you at?
I'm at home in Utah, actually. I'm not there because I do have a class coming up this weekend, so I'm kind of preparing for that one.
Cool. All right. Well, let's start our viewers off with background. And I'll preface this by saying, normally we like to talk about markets and analyze charts and do all that type of stuff. But since it's your maiden voyage on the SS Power Trading Radio Show, we will go back down memory lane a little bit. I've always shared, well, not always, I've shared many times with our viewers my background, how I got into it, and I think it's important for people to see that you, myself, and all of our traders and instructors on Trading Academy, we're just ordinary people who have taken that path and have excelled at it. So Walk us through your early days, maybe your childhood. What got you into the financial markets? What was it that spurred your interest and kind of pulled you in?
Well, I do have to kind of comment on what you said just a second ago. And yeah, for me, it's not been about the limelight or the glory light or anything of that nature, because I'm just the average person. And so I kind of fell into this industry by accident. Back in June of 2004, I had a neighbor of mine introduce me to the stock market. And there's an older stock market education company out there that is no longer a business anymore that I kind of got rolling with. Ultimately, ended up joining their ranks, and I was able to travel the country mostly for a number of years, and kind of got into the industry for selfish reasons. Prior to that, I came from kind of like a collections background. I actually used to work for Ford Motor Credit, and I owned my own company, repoing cars. And so, then I fell into this industry. Never really thought I would be interested in it at all. Always thought that I would just contribute to a 401k, leave it up to the pros. You know, the average, the same story that everybody kind of preaches.
Right.
Kind of found my niche and kind of got hooked on it and kind of went from there. Over the years, had some very specialized education. Had the very unique opportunity to go to work for a couple of pretty big-time and established brokerage firms, one based in Chicago that a lot of people know. I actually Thinkorswim is who I used to work for a number of years. Transitioned over to TD Ameritrade for a while. Stayed on the unlicensed side of the market because, as you know, Merlin, when you're on the unlicensed side of the market, you can tell people things that people who are licensed cannot.
Yeah.
And so...
Not only that, I'll tell you what, for the viewers that might not know, I was down the same path as you. I'm happy to hear you say that you're on the unlicensed side. When you say unlicensed, guys, don't think that like he's some reckless gunslinger out there. If you understand what licensing does, if you have your Series 63 or your 7 or your 55, all these licenses, basically, once you take those, you now have to follow very specific rules of what you can and cannot do. In many cases, you're actually considered a professional, which means your data feeds could go up in cost by tenfold. So I went away from being licensed because I realized having a license does not make you a better trader in any way, shape, or form. All a license does is tells you what you can tell your clients within the legal framework so that you don't go to prison or get arrested. So it's making sure that you say things the way that you're supposed to, which, of course, we do here as well. I mean, we're not saying that you're going to open up an account and pin the ears back at Goldman Sachs and be making $50 million a year. That's not going to happen. But it's just you're limited if you say that you are professional and you say that you are licensed under all these regulations. So I'm happy you said that because I was down that path and I backed away from it and said, I don't want all those licenses. I'd rather be my own individual person. I don't want to represent other people's accounts. I don't want to trade other people's money. I just want to do my own thing. So there you go.
Exactly. And, bless their hearts. Yeah. Once I saw that side of the industry, you're exactly right. They know enough information to keep them out of jail. How to open, transfer, close accounts. I mean, it is what it is. But that's kind of been my journey. And I was recruited to Online Trading Academy for a little over a year before I decided to come out and teach classes. And now I've been with the Academy for a little over 5 years now, which still feels like yesterday.
Right. I've been with them a long time. And it feels like yesterday until I look in the mirror and I realize, my hairline's receding and it's all gray now. What's going on over here? I got to go back to an earlier thing that you mentioned, which was you were doing repo work. Well, let's be honest, that's not a very friendly thing. You're doing repo work, you're taking people's cars. I'm sure you got upset people. Was that part of your decision maybe to leave that industry? Because when you're doing what you do now, which is sharing knowledge, helping people understand how these markets work, and hopefully for the betterment of their own personal financial future, we don't know. It's up to them to kind of make their own path, but at least you can help guide them through what not to do and what to do. Was there an interest in, let's call it altruism, that caused you to maybe make that change, or was it just a sign of the times and you need to get out of that business?
It was kind of both. Actually, the straw that broke the camel's back was actually, and I don't want to be too transparent here, but there's only so many times that a person with no bulletproof vest can have a gun pulled out on them before you decide that you need a career change. And so I kind of fell into this industry by accident, like I said earlier, not really knowing that I'd be interested in it at all, and just really saw not only what the markets could do, but through kind of the same type of path that our students have, is kind of going through the normal growing pains and knowing what it's like to start trading with a little bit of money and then lose all of it and then start from zero again, and just really to have that, and hopefully our students don't experience that.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we try to help them avoid. But having lived through that and knowing exactly kind of what they're going through as they're starting on this path, and not only that, but even if they've been a student for a while,
right,
kind of where they are, and how to help them overcome some obstacles in their overall, not only just education, but their trading career, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Right.
That we can see that they might not be able to see, which kind of makes it very rewarding, because I think you're under the same impression too, Merlin. It's not so much about the money for us; it's more so seeing people's lives change. I had a student in my last class ask the question, why you come out teaching these classes? And I said, what's so wrong about seeing somebody do good?
Right.
Why do you have to focus on negatives?
Well, I think it's our society. We come from a society where now it's straight up capitalism. You see corporations abusing people and taking advantage of people, and almost no social give back. I mean, there are certainly some that are out there, but I think that's the perception. And I'll tell you, when I first started, I could care less about helping anybody. Honestly, I was as selfish as they came. But then I realized that there's an interesting parallel, and I notice it a lot here with our group that follows us on your YouTube channels, because they're always helping each other out and sharing ideas, is you can be selfish as a trader and be very focused on, I just need to make myself money, and that might work for you. But there comes a point, and this is why I really have stayed with Online Trading Academy for so long, is that if I'm out there assisting, or if I don't like to use the word coaching, it's not really coaching, but sharing my experiences and helping somebody overcome the same mistake that cost me maybe $30,000 or $50,000 of idiot mistakes, and I can show you that, and it only cost you $1,000 worth of bad mistakes, then to me that's giving something back. And it means that person may actually get to that point of success much faster, because as I saw in the trading floor days, people blew their accounts left and right. So there came a point where when I was actually assisting and teaching and helping, that I got better. Not only was my discipline better, my risk management was better, but I was more confident in what I was doing, because now I'm telling you to follow these rules that maybe in my personal life I wasn't following. So I would encourage anybody out there, educate, teach. If you know what you're supposed to be doing, you're not doing it, then preach it. Go out there and preach it. Use stop losses, use different forms of risk management so that you don't blow your account. But I think that that's one of the best things to give back, and I love the altruism side of it. Go ahead. Actually, I was going to say, I'm looking at the clock right now, and TJ, we still got a couple minutes. So what would you say was probably your biggest challenge when you started out? Because you came from an industry which I'm guessing in the repo type of business that there was structure. I mean, you had to be a great risk manager, as you said. You're having guns pulled on you. I can imagine. Come and try to take my car. I'll see what happens. You have to be a good risk manager. How did that translate over to your personal trading, and what would you say was your biggest challenge as you were learning how these markets worked?
My biggest challenge was to stop focusing on the money. One of the things that I teach our students in the classes that I go out in is, here at the Academy, we don't teach you how to make money. What we teach you to do is manage risk. And I see it happen all the time, is that those people that are too focused on making the quick buck are the ones that are gambling. And a lot of times they are fast to break their rules, break their structure. And not only that, but when you really sit down and talk to them, at the end of the day, you kind of have to ask them a question. Well, whose rules are you actually following? And sometimes it's kind of like a hybrid of what Online Trading Academy teaching them, which basically means they're breaking the rules, and sometimes in an unconscious manner. And so when you go back in, and again, my biggest struggle is just stop trying to focus on the money and more so focus on risk management, and then just making sure that I'm doing the right strategy in the right market environment. Then the money tended to take care of itself, or the rate of return, or however you want to label that. So that was the biggest challenge. It's a big challenge for everybody out there, in my opinion, is just to get away from it.
Well, it's kind of funny if you were to ask people in a room, say, you have two choices. Is trading about making money, or is it about not losing it? The vast majority of the room is going to say making money. And I did a presentation for a Traders Expo, I think it was Las Vegas or Dallas. This is probably 8-10 years ago when I was on the tour circuit out there. And first I start off my presentation saying, all right, how many people here by a show of hands think trading is about making money? And I would say 80% of the room raised their hands. And I said, all of you that just raised your hands, you have a challenge. You're probably going to lose money. And they were just, nobody likes being called out like that. And I said, the other people in the room that kept your hands down, what is trading all about? And they go, well, trading is about not losing it. I said, you guys are experienced, been doing this a while, right? And I use the phrase, I don't know whether it's plagiarized or if I just made it up, but I've been using it for so long that for me personally, and the viewers have heard this a million times, they're probably sick of it at this point, that trading is not about making money. Trading is about not losing money. And if you focus on not losing money, then making money becomes a byproduct. It's almost by accident you start having winning trades because you're not letting anything get away from you to the downside and eating away your profits. So,
exactly. And I'll add this in there too, Marilyn. If you have a proven methodology and a proven system, and you know how you react around that, I don't want to say it's like taking candy from a baby, but the overall point is you can be less busy but be more productive.
Right.
Which basically means you're limiting your risk, you're taking the right type of trades, using the right strategy at the right time. So more than likely you're going to take on you're going to take a much less trades than you may usually do, but the probability of you making money is much higher.
Right. Yeah, you're much more selective. It's funny because you mentioned the number of trades. The viewers know my record in one day was 880 trades in a day. I averaged about 550 in the late 90s, and you're going, well, I was basically shooting at everything that came across in my screen, man. I'm making trades all day long, and I realized I need to stop that. So when I was refining my trading plan, I kind of scaled back and brought it down to where I was making maximum of 20 trades per day. And then all of a sudden, okay, I can make 10 trades per week. And that's kind of where the limit is at for me. But of course, I have many accounts now, so I can't say that in one account. For one account, I wouldn't make more than 10 a week. But overall, I'm definitely making more than that. To me, that is where you start to learn about your true self. And you say, okay, here's my problem. I was trading too much. Fine, let's wait to fix that. I was not paying attention to my losses. Great, I implemented rules and structure that would allow me to follow very simple steps with rules, and that started to help me out. So, and it all really revolved around where the losses were coming from. Obviously, trading 550 trades a day. The person who really won there was the broker who was handling my commissions. We need to take a quick break. We're kind of past this point, and I got to read. You guys got tons of comments and questions going in here. I see one that's rather interesting. It's saying, how long did it take for you to become a full-time trader and quit your day job? As you can see, I haven't quit my day job. I'm still sitting here. But we have a special guest today, Robert Dummar. It's his first time on the program. We will come back. We'll ask more questions. I want to find out more about his trading style specifically so you guys get an idea of what he's looking at, what kind of trade setups he's looking at, time, duration, etc. If you have more questions, feel free to send those on in at powertradingradio.com or go to our YouTube channels, Online Trading Academy, as well as Power Trading Radio YouTube channels. Very active out there today. So send in your comments, join the discussion, and we'll be right back after a short break.
Learning this way is fine when the stakes are low. But when the stakes are high, you need to rely on skill, not just knowledge. At Online Trading Academy, you build your skill one step at a time. We teach our students to trade and invest with a strategy, not a hunch. You learn our methodology, then practice it. You get to make mistakes and ask questions, and watch instructors make live trades. Develop your skill the right way. Click here to get started with Online Trading Academy.
Meet Mac. As a trader, he liked the signals that came from technical analysis tools, but they didn't help him find the best trades consistently, so he searched for a new approach. Mac attended Online Trading Academy's free class and discovered their core strategy, a trading methodology that spots when big banks are likely buying and selling, so everyday investors can too. Mac carved out a path to trade and invest with confidence, and so can you.
You're listening to Power Trading Radio live. Watch the show live or on the archive at powertradingradio.com and YouTube. Or download the podcast from iTunes or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Power Trading Radio. I'm Merlin Rothfeld with you for your Monday edition. Quick, I got to address some power blasts happen here. I've got Randino talking about, okay, Mr. Dummar's a rock star here in Charlotte. All right, cool. We'll talk about some of these other commodities in a second. I want to make sure we get through understanding who our guest is today. You asked about YouTube activity, Randino. That's going to be at Online Trading Academy's YouTube page or Power Trading Radio's YouTube page. They're both fairly active communities out there. Now, the other comment that came in here was from Sonia. Love this type of comment, Sonia, because it makes us feel good about doing what we do. Sonia says, this is exactly what I needed to hear tonight. I need to focus more on risk management. I don't want to tell you, Sonia, it's not just you. Every person that's listening right now needs to focus more on risk management. I know some are a little bit loose in their risk management style, some are not paying attention at all, but we all need to focus on it. It should be the cornerstone of what you do is your risk management. Then you've got your strategy, and then making money is, again, the byproduct of it. So thanks for sending that one in as well. I had a question that came in on the break, which was, Merlin, how long did it take for you to become a professional trader and quit a full-time trader and quit your day job? Brendan, you've heard me say this one before, that I got to the point where I was just trading. That was my full-time occupation. I found it very challenging. I actually prefer to have a part-time job or full-time job. So I would say I have a full-time job, because I do. And that keeps me focused, and all that income basically pays for everything that I do in my life. And then all the earnings or gains from trading just goes to build up my net worth. So it's kind of using that income. When I want, I can continue to grow my net worth. But I don't want to be only a trader. I want to do other things, because what I find happens for me personally is my brain goes down this rabbit hole sometimes where I put too much stress on myself when I was just a full-time trader, put too much stress on having to meet these financial obligations, and sometimes I would go down a downward spiral, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I personally don't want to be just a full-time trader. I want to be working and doing some other things as well. Robert, I don't know if you have a different perspective on that, but the question was, how long did it take for you to become a full-time trader and quit your day job?
It's a common question that we get, isn't it?
Yeah, right? Because it's the goal. It's this utopian thing that everybody wants to hear is, I no longer work for the man, I can just trade for a living, which you can do, but it has challenges.
Yeah, and one of the things that I actually introduce our students to in when I do a market timing orientation, for the sake of the example, is the difference between the financially independent and the financially dependent. For the sake of the example, on average, give or take a few numbers here or there, financially dependent people usually have one source of income, and they call it a job or their job. Whereas financially independent people have, on average, somewhere around 5 streams of income. And so I kind of agree with you, Merlin. I don't want to just be just a trader. I like having other things that I can actually go out and do. Some people do real estate. Some people do trading and investing, or whatever floats their boat. When you focus, and here's my overall point, when you focus your sole source of income on one stream, for the example, trading and investing, I'm going to echo what you just said. It's a lot of pressure on that individual person to perform. And once that happens, then in context of what we were talking about in that last section, throw risk management out the window, because now it almost like you're almost having to trade. And one of the things that I tell people is trading is a privilege; it's not a right.
Yep.
And so it's always good to be able to add to your sources of income. I would just say, for most people out there, just kind of take your time and ease into it. But that's a tricky question to ask as far as time frame, and the reason being is just because everybody's different.
Right.
I mean, it took me, not having the type of education that Online Trading Academy offers their students today, but back in 2004, it really took me 3 years to get a good grasp on the overall market.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for all of us, the content is significantly better now than it was back then. It's an evolution, so it's definitely more structured and better. But yeah, it takes a while to get this stuff, man. And really, it's not. I don't think it takes that long to get the content. It takes that long to integrate that content into whatever damaged brain we have and baggage that we bring to the table. So you're learning new things, but we all have so much preconceived notions that we've been fed by the financial institutions forever that there's conflicts in there sometimes. And it's not just the financial institutions, it's our own inner demons about inability to take stop loss, fear of the markets, fear of taking a trade. All these things, you have to kind of conquer all these inner demons, which make it very, very challenging. Let me ask you real quick, because the clock's running here, and of course we could talk for hours. I know that you trade a variety of different asset classes, but what would you say was your primary focus with regards to what you trade and time frames?
Primary focus is futures and options. Options no more than 2 to 4 weeks. Futures, I love to day trade, but I don't necessarily sit in front of my computer for hours. I'll like to set up a trade and just let it go and just go let it do what it does behind the scenes, and I go do whatever it is that I want to do.
Right, there you go.
I do like the shorter term trading. If you would have asked me this years ago, I'd have said my definition of a long-term trader is being into a trade for 5, 10 plus years. now my definition of a long-term trader, just because I know the power of leverage, multiple strategies. I can't stand to have my money into something more than 4 weeks.
Well, yeah. All right, that's cool. Hey, it's to each their own, right? I mean, some people would scoff at 4 weeks and say, "My goodness, that's nothing. I'm in it for the next 5 years." Others, like myself back in the late '90s, I would laugh at you and say, "A week? I'm in this thing for the next 30 minutes." So we all have to find out what niche we like. But I wanted to share that because I know some students, because you can take retakes at Online Trading Academy, you might find, oh, I really want to learn that type of style or that perspective of trading and investing. So I wanted to share that one with us. Last one from Randino. He sent this in earlier when he says, obviously you're a rock star in Charlotte. He says, there are lots of opportunities today in commodities such as gasoline, corn, hogs, or any others. Any thoughts on those specific asset classes?
Not on those specific ones. I always just tell people stay disciplined to supply and demand, and that'll keep you safe because, as we all know, everything you need to know is already on the charts. Mm-hmm. The other ones that I like to look at a lot more is the S&P sectors.
Okay.
Is the overall financial materials, the consumer discretionary, mm-hmm. industrials, things of that nature. And when you look at let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. 9 of them, all but like 2 gap down today.
Right.
And so and so that's going to. You were saying something about the note a little bit earlier on in the program, the 10-year note. And I'm also looking at the value of the U.S. dollar as well. I mean, the dollar has actually sold off as well, and so. When it comes to in my biased opinion, when it comes to any type of commodity or any type of trading investing, for the sake of that example, again, just stay disciplined to supply and demand because that will really weed out a lot of the let's just say minutia that's out there that people in general are faced with.
Here's
matter of fact, you
go ahead.
You said something a second ago as far as our preconceived notions. One of the things that I like to talk with my students. Matter of fact, the first word that I write on the board whenever I start a class is I usually say, "Hey, we're going to start this off with bringing your attention to the main reason why most people out there fail in this industry."
Yep.
And then I write a single word on the board, and that word is belief. And say your belief systems have been so screwed up over the last however old you are that you don't even know it. And so we write down some preconceived notions on the board, and then throughout our time together, we just go back to the preconceived notions. Yep. And with the student's permission, we just kind of cross those out. And so, again, no matter whatever underlining that you're looking at, if you just stay disciplined to supply demand and the reason why you are getting that trader investment in the first place, then you don't really need to pay attention to what's really going on. Don't be ignorant.
Right.
You need to know what's going on, but you really don't need to pay attention.
For Randino out there, it's a great question, and here's the analogy I'll give you. I went on a great trip once with a friend of mine, and we were going to do photography of the Milky Way at midnight out in the middle of the desert, right? It's pitch black out there. Were we scouring every star constellation out there trying to take pictures? No, there was a specific strip that we were focusing on. And while you're right, there's tremendous opportunities in corn, hogs, and soybeans, and index futures. The spectrum of the financial market is like staring up on a starry night with no ambient light and seeing just trillions of stars. There's so many things to trade on. However, it takes a long time to master looking up at that sky and know where everything is at and how they all relate and what they mean and all that different stuff and the names of all of them. In the beginning, it's probably easier to focus on 1 or 2 constellations, right? Focus on a couple things and really start to get those under your belt, because what Robert pointed out is absolutely true. If you focus on the mechanics of trading and the technical analysis side of it, you can take what you learned about this specific chart, move it over to a totally different asset class, and still operate the same way. But one thing that I found is a struggle for many newbies is they're like, oh, look at that one. Oh, look at this one. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at. And next thing you know, you're missing trades because you're not really focusing on anything specifically. You're looking at everything and you get distracted. It's the squirrel kind of methodology. So while there's great opportunities, if that's your focus, awesome. I can't argue that there's not great opportunities in corn and hogs and commodities. It's a different breed. There's different skill sets you have to understand to get involved with commodities because there are commitment of trader reports and all these different releases by the industry. It's not the same as a stock market or a currency market. So whatever market you guys decide to get into, whether that's futures or Forex or commodities, options, just make sure you understand the mechanics of it, because let's be honest, there's opportunity in every single asset class out there every single day. All right, Robert Dummar is our guest today. Robert, where are you going to be next? I know you're teaching, but tell us, our viewers, where you're going to be teaching next.
Yeah, you bet. So it looks like I'll be in Salt Lake City this week, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then I believe it's the 7th through the 9th in Charlotte, and then the 10th, the February 10th, down in Raleigh, and then it looks like back in Salt Lake City later on in the month of February.
There you go. Cool. Well, I'm bummed it took so long to get you on the program, but I'm happy we finally got you on. Hopefully you saw it wasn't too painful out there. I wasn't too mean to you. Love having you on today, and I look forward to having you on again soon, Robert. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, brother. Take care, guys.
All right, take care. Guys, Robert Dummar is our guest. Got a lot of background experience. We could have dove deeper into his background, which I kind of wanted to do, but we got squirreled over here. There's a bunch of stuff to talk about. So he mentioned he'll be in Raleigh, he'll be in Charlotte, he'll be in Salt Lake City. If you are interested in taking a class with Robert Dummar, you can click that link that's going to show up in your social media channel right now. That's going to be put up there by Joanne, which, like presto, will probably pop up right now on our Online Trading Academy as well as Power Trading Radio YouTube channel. So click that link. Type in your zip code to tell you which of our 50, I'm jumping the gun, 48 physical campuses around the world are nearest you. Each one has free classes, paid classes, community events, and much, much more. Also, education options, futures, Forex, commodities, and a wide variety of different asset classes. If you are at the gym right now listening to this podcast, thank you for making it all the way to the end. How do you find out more information? You can click that link at powertradingradio.com. Just it says free class. Click it, and you can get all the same information as well. All right, I was going to take a quick break, but this one went long today, and I got to get out of the studio for the next show that we're doing. Let's go to the economic calendar, TJ. Why not? It's the 28th. We're getting right near the end. They said so goes January, so goes the rest of the year. It was looking so good until about a week ago. Now, not so good. For the U.S., tomorrow we have core durable goods orders and CB consumer confidence, as well as the Richmond Manufacturing Index. For the euro, you're looking at Spanish unemployment rate as well as the German GfK consumer climate. Australia with CPI, and then finally for Japan, we have consumer confidence numbers coming out. For your earnings calendar, it's your popcorn trade of the day. There will be some stuff happening tomorrow for sure. Stryker, Canadian National Rail, HCA Healthcare, Equity Residential, eBay, one of my personal favorite shopping sites, PACCAR, we've got 3M, Starbucks, Lockheed Martin, United Technologies, SAP, Pfizer, and then your popcorn trade of the day. Bring it up to Apple. We'll be checking that one out after hours and see how crazy that one is after the markets close. It's usually wild. I call it popcorn trade of the day. We got a lot of new viewers. I will explain what that means. That means put it on a 1-minute time frame. Lean back as you put it your feet up on the desk. Grab a bowl of Orville Redenbacher popcorn and watch the chart of Apple go nuts after hours. Up, down. I don't know which way it's going to go, but it will be kind of crazy. So that's what we got cooking for us. That will be your day for tomorrow. And then the guest for the show, excited. Short-term futures guy, Craig Weil, will be our guest on the program. He's spent many, many years on the board of the Chicago Board of Exchange and the Chicago Exchanges, period, talking about trading and investing. So we'll talk futures with Craig Weil tomorrow. On a solemn note, obviously we all heard the news about Kobe Bryant and his daughter and obviously all the other people on that helicopter last night, which kind of made me reflect a little bit. Here's a guy who's 41 years old, had the world at his fingertips, and everything comes crashing down. Moral of the story is go out, live your lives, do everything that you want to do while you can, because we don't know when our tickets will be punched. So hopefully you guys shed a little bit of respect for Kobe and his family and all those that lost their lives. But introspectively, let's go out and make the most of our lives. So when we're all done and said and done, we have a lot to talk about. That will do it for today's show, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to know more about financial market education, go ahead and click that link showing up in social media. Type in your zip code, let you know which center is closest to you. Of course, we're working on a lot of self-paced content as well, so we can reach anybody, anywhere. You can find out more information on those links. Until then, happy trading, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
You're listening to Power Trading Radio live. Watch the show live or on the archive at powertradingradio.com and YouTube. Or download the podcast from iTunes or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded.